call the Select Board meeting of Tuesday, September 23rd to order. And first item is approval of the agenda.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any changes, amendments to the agenda? Hearing none. All in favor of approving the agenda as drafted, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Sidebar conversations.
Oh, do you need a change?
What?
Do you need a change for the agenda for an executive session?
I think it's listed.
Is it that?
We don't need.
We're not gonna do that?
Nope.
You send an email.
When we're ready for that conversation, it will be an executive session.
Oh, okay.
But
Okay.
Not today.
Sorry.
Got it.
Thanks.
Next item
That was his catch, not mine.
is the consent agenda.
I move.
Moved and seconded. Anything anyone would like to highlight, talk about, any changes?
I have one thing on the
Go ahead.
meeting minutes, on the discussion when we were voting on the tearing down of the building, and the minutes stated that I was concerned because we had never had a contract that was presented before us without recommending a winner of that, and that was part of my concern. The major part of my concern was that we had an open public discussion about that, and that only one of the bidders was here, and then we picked that bidder. That was my primary concern, not that Emily came with not picking one and letting us pick it. I have no problems with doing that, but I felt uncomfortable with the fact that we had one bidder here and got to present his case, and that's not reflected in the minutes, and that's what I'm saying.
This is an interesting piece.
Correct, actually.
Yeah, well, that would be, yeah, I don't have it up.
It was in the
I got it here.
board member concerns.
It's in the board, yeah. So it's,
Right?
166.
Yeah.
Nobody's looking.
I'm not necessarily requesting that we change it. I just wanted to make sure that everybody understood that was my concern. And I think we have a wrong date at the bottom for the next
Yeah.
select board meeting.
Good point.
Is that?
I mean, we could get together next Monday.
Still got time.
Sure.
Yeah, we could. That's it.
Okay. Anything else? Hearing nothing else, all in favor of approval of the consent agenda with the additional comments, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. Citizen comments. Is there anyone here for something not on the agenda?
Hi, Ellen Cronin. Just wanted to comment that we haven't had much rain, but yet we've still had some sewage overflows. So that's upsetting. But the other thing that is really nice, and I want to commend Jeremy on the fact that he seems to be the only person who actually takes the report for sewage overflows seriously. So he reports them within 24 hours. He actually states why, makes an accurate judgment of what happened and how it was fixed. And if you read the other reports of sewage overflows from all over the state, nobody supplies that. So it's upsetting that we're having them, but I'm glad that he's taking it seriously and doing it the right way, the way it's supposed to be done.
That's fantastic.
There's been failures.
Um,
There's been
what?
mechanical failures.
so I'd be interested in reading those, and they don't come to my attention. Where do you find them?
You can sign up to get an email for every sewage
And it comes from the
overflow
state
in
after
the
it's
state.
reported by the local?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
I can send you the
Light reading.
I can find it. Thanks.
That's it.
Emily.
Thank you. Overflow alert. I know.
I was going to play dumb here because I thought I missed something.
Hi, good afternoon or good evening. My name is Dory Keogh, and I'm very pleased to be here with a concern that I understand is the procedure to bring to the select board. And do I have to give my address? You want my?
I
No.
think your name was.
You're in Middlebury?
Pardon me?
You live in Middlebury?
I do live in Middlebury, yeah. I wasn't sure how, I come from Massachusetts, and we like dates and all that kind of stuff, you know. You probably
I think
know,
we're fine.
So I won't bore you with all that kind of stuff. But the reason I'm here, and I'm happy to be back in Middlebury, I was here as a student a number of years ago, and must say that in the intervening years, it's wonderful to see some of the changes which have happened and some of the things that have been kept the same. So I know you do a great balancing act, and I really congratulate you. And with me is another Middlebury person, Nancy Cord, who's also a Middlebury graduate. We were here a long time ago, and we're really enjoying coming back for whatever reason now. But the reason I'm here is because I and a number of the people who live as I do at the residence at Otter Creek, which is for the elderly up on the hill up Lodge Road, are concerned about, not about the wonderful job, and I must say the job that was done on completing the road from the Route 7 in, it has numbers of different names for that road. I think people in town call it by whatever they wish, but it's called something about South something Boulevard now. But that's not that is not I know. So that's the big formal name on the bottom.
Middle Road.
Pardon me, everybody calls it, but the sign there, which is about this long.
It's Southridge.
Oh, South Ridge. Yeah, so where the residences road takes off.
Yes, that's right. And Lodge Road is sorry, it was my hands. But the Lodge Road is the road that goes down from the lodge down to the main road, where most of the residents leaving the lodge take a left to go out to Route 7. But what I found is that even though, and I must say that the contractors really did, from an observer's point of view, a great job. They seem to work with good dispatch. And it really looks like a lovely job. And having driven my grandchildren on that school in past numbers of years ago, they were both graduating from high school now, so I go back a while on that. That was a road that was interesting to travel, so you've done a great job. And I know that there's a sign on the road there that says right turn, watch out for the right turn, 25 miles an hour. But what I also notice is that when people from the lodge are coming down, they're mostly turning left. They can't see that traffic until it's hitting them. And so there has been a lot of concern among people who live in the lodge about, is there anything that can be done? And none of us are engineers, although of course we all have great ideas, but I'm not going to give you any of them. And I know that probably most of you may not be engineers, but I understand the procedure here is that something like this as a request has to go through you, and then, am I right on that, to some other department in town. So my request is to ask if you would be kind enough, really, because I do think, particularly as I'm thinking of somebody going down, taking a left turn, cars coming in, and they do travel a little faster on that road now that it's so good, and that's understandable. But a couple of tickets, I assume you give tickets. Do you give tickets in Vermont? I guess I don't want to know. We're going to find out. But I think that it could be really a dangerous situation. So I'm here just to ask you, please, if you will do whatever the select board does and the town manager does to request that someone who's a professional, which I and none of my friends are, can make suggestions. So we're not even going to give you a suggestion.
Is there a stop sign for Lodge Road people?
Yes, there is a stop sign. But again, not to...
If you're stopped there, you can't see traffic?
But you can't see what's coming at you from the left if you're at the stop sign.
So would just a parabolic mirror be helpful there?
What kind?
A parabolic mirror, one of the...
Oh, it might be, but
Yeah, okay.
that's not my
Fine.
strength.
Gotcha.
So I'm going to keep my mouth shut on that one.
But that road that goes up to the lodge, it's owned by the lodge, right?
I think it is, yes. And I did talk with the director here, who said, the director of the lodge, who said he had talked with someone in town several months ago, but he hadn't followed up on it, and I wanted to make sure he knew that he wasn't going to kick me out and tell me to go home for coming here and minding his own business. So I said, do you not want me to go? And he probably figured he'd better say, yes, go ahead. But because I really don't want to go down that road and think, drive it yourselves and you'll see what I mean. You're coming out of it and you cannot see what's coming at you from the left. And the traffic is moving a tad bit faster because it is a smoother road, now. So, but that, if there's anything that I need to do now,
No, I think duly noted, Mr. Keel. And the person who is the department head that would be looking at that is here, so has heard it. So
Oh, good.
we'll take a look at that.
oh, wonderful, well, I'm assuming it's hiding, and I really do thank you, but they've done a great job, and it really is a much safer road, because it was a bumpy bump. So thank you very much,
Thank you.
really. Thank you a lot.
Laura?
Laura, assembly, interesting and relatedly. So first, I just want to commend the town and the Energy Committee for the great participation in Sunday, the celebration of renewable energy, and our efforts as a town to reduce our carbon footprint and to showcase our new truck, you know, our, is it hybrid or all electric? I can't remember. All electric truck, you know, that's been added to our fleet, you know, and our effort to be carbon neutral with the library and pursuing geothermal. So we're, again, just showing the way, and I'm very excited about that, and the attendance of elected officials and staff at Sunday. So I was there as an exhibitor for the Walk by Council of Addison County, and we've been paying attention to Middle Road as well, you know, and been monitoring that. And next week is a celebration of International Walk and Roll to School Day, you know, which is always celebrated in early October. And we have 25 bikes at the middle school right now, including some e-bikes that go pretty fast. So not only vehicles, but, you know, we've been noticing e-bikes, and I've been monitoring that corridor since school started, so I can tell you about that. And definitely people appreciate the improvements on Middle Road, and they are going faster because it's open. So I too am excited about any other calming measures that we're planning to finish on Middle Road, including the completion of the crosswalk markings. Right now, you know, they're ready, but they're not finished. So the reflective striping still needs to go in, and the plan for the rapid flashing beacon light will go in, and I understand that that will be October. So is that confirmed, that that will be completed? Both the crosswalk striping will be completed and the LED flashing light October, right?
Yeah, I don't know the exact date, Laura, but it is the intention to get it done.
Pretty soon, yeah. So that's good, and really, we need it. We really need it. So anyway, I just hope that we can complete that in time. It really just, again, sets a good model for how we want to be designing the roads, okay? So the other thing, so I had to pick up a family member at the residence, so I'm up at the residence all the time, and that was today, so I hit it at 3:15. And if you hit it at 3:15, you're backed up. You know, I don't know if you guys, have you seen that? Yeah, so I'm like the 7th car, and I cannot, you know, go further, and I'm glad that I built in a little cushion of extra time, or I would have been late for this doctor's appointment for this resident that I was picking up. And you have to like come out of traffic and pass the traffic before you realize that nothing's moving. So people are not using the new parking spots. They're not going ahead and then turning around and then using the new parking spots to wait for their kids. So again, I just hope that families that are using that road will not block traffic. And I don't know if we need a little bit of enforcement out there between 3:15 and 3:30, just 15 minutes, you know, just to get the message out, don't do that, you know, so I think that would be helpful.
That would come from the school though, right?
From the school to request it, or?
No, the school would actually be out there helping direct the parents.
I don't know,
That's how
is
we've
it the
done it in-
school?
I mean, I don't think we've,
Who
done
tells
that
the
with
traffic that they can't stop there, that they need to keep moving? Because they're in,
it's the school traffic. I don't think throwing more on our police.
All right, well, I can,
I mean, that'd be the thing where if it's all school traffic, I would think that the school could try to work to put somebody out there, because it's after or as they're releasing students.
well, I've been
right?
working with the middle school principals, so I will have that conversation. I mean, if they want me there, I'll do it. But,
You know, like Mary Hogan has a flagger out there by the light. They control the people who cross the street and stuff.
They don't have
Not anymore.
anybody anymore. They haven't for several
anymore.
years. It used to be Donna, but she retired.
well,
a few
that's a
years ago.
different spot, so that's at the elementary school, so there's
Right,
a
he's
know
talking
that.
about, he was saying
Yeah.
that Mary Hogan had one, but I don't believe
Yeah,
Mary
Mary
Hogan
Hogan
has.
hasn't had a crossing guard for
Yeah.
2 years. But we're talking about the middle school and the intersection there.
What are the new parking spaces you're talking about? I have a middle schooler there, but she walks, so I actually am not familiar with the driving situation. But should there be more public awareness for the middle school
Maybe
parents
because they're
about
not
these
marked as
parking
parking,
lots?
I don't know if
Parking
that's,
spots?
I think once they get marked. it'll
Once they get
be
marked as
obvious.
parking
I
spots,
think
that might
right now
help.
People are seeing it as extra lane.
yeah.
Sure.
So
Most people get used to seeing those spots.
that'll be
It's
good.
fairly new right now.
Okay.
Laura, it was fantastic having Dancing Banana. I have no idea who it was during the bluegrass music at Sunday. That was very nice.
Yes, well, I'll be in costume again this coming Wednesday, as you know.
I enjoyed your public mea culpa for
Oh.
the speed.
Right, slowing down, and that we all need to make good eye contact.
That was classic.
Yes,
Oh,
me
we
too.
are working on it.
Yes. Okay, thank you, friends.
Cheers.
Anybody else? Kevin, we're ready for you.
Thank you. Good to see you all.
Same.
So Kevin Fox, Middlebury Area Land Trust. I told you last time I'd be here, last time I would come back, I would be asking for something, so predicted it. Okay. So anyway, thanks for the chance to speak tonight. I'm here on MALT, on behalf of MALT, to share a proposal for the Happy Trail extension, which is a community asset that would strengthen our trail system, connect people downtown, and expand outdoor access for all. This is the creation of a half-mile ADA accessible multi-use trail connecting the existing Happy Trail off of Mill Street, big giant parking lot there, to Wybridge Street. And this will become Middlebury's only true downtown hiking trail, providing inclusive access for residents, visitors, college students to easily reach downtown shops and community spaces. In partnership with the Otter Creek Child Care Center, MALT would build and maintain the trail using both volunteers and paid staff. The ADA design ensures accessibility for people of all ages and abilities, making it valuable addition to our town's infrastructure and a model for community collaboration. To ensure the land remains protected, MALT would also secure a permanent trail easement to conserve the property for future generations. Beyond its recreational and conservation value, the trail would also provide economic boost to the town by drawing more foot traffic to downtown businesses. So we presented, as you're probably aware, this concept to the Middlebury Conservation Commission on August 18th, and they did offer strong support and had sent you a letter, which I think was in your packet, endorsing the overall project. The extension, the vision behind it is the extension will provide a safe, accessible route linking schools, neighborhoods, and downtown businesses. And we've incorporated the feedback we received from the Conservation Commission in updating this plan, this project plan. Improved signage, improved accessibility, and more realistic budget. The first budget we had was about $12,000, but it was certainly below where it should have been. We are now estimating this project to be cost around $60,000. MALT would, in the scenario, would fundraise $10,000 to cover everything that goes into the easement, and we would be requesting $50,000 from the town. The benefits would be supporting public recreation and healthy lifestyles for all ages. Again, boosting downtown businesses through stronger connections between schools, neighborhoods, and commerce, and providing a long-term community benefit and it would be a town gem and a lasting asset for residents and visitors alike. But we do recognize there could be some questions on whether the conservation fund, which would be the likely source, could be used for new trail development. If funding is not possible under that mechanism, we'd like to pivot to two separate requests. One would be to move forward with authorizing the trail easement on the town property. This is kind of like the first stage anyway. We need to have that in place. It's kind of a best practice, and that should take some time. So that is something that we hope that we can green light, if not today, but very soon. The deed for the property already stipulates the land is for public recreation, where no buildings, utilities, substations, or facilities can be built there anyway per the deed. So this is really the right moment to formalize the use for conservation and public recreation. Another area that I'd like to propose, if it is not possible to use the conservation fund, is for the town to partner with MALT on fundraising. We think that having the town come in and help us look for other options if the funds were not available would be a good community collaboration. As we're looking at something important as a public trail downtown. But even a small town contribution towards the cost of the easement, maybe $10,000, would give us a strong start and a clear signal to the community that the project has board support. So in closing, the project has clear community support, shovel ready, and aligns with the deed's recreational intent. Whether through direct funding, improvement of the easement, or partnership on fundraising, we hope the select board will help us move forward. And thank you for your time.
Cool. Thanks, Kevin. Before we get into questions, I'm going to propose, so there are some motions here, but I would propose that we don't move forward with any funding motion this evening, that we look at options, that we really look at where we are total funding wise and everything that we have. We're getting close to the funding season, and look at that conservation fund and what other options there are for that. So, but understanding the trail and maybe, giving a nod of support for it in the, in the easement stuff, I would be fully on board for tonight if the board is.
I love the vision of this, and I think this is something that I hope will come to happen. A couple of comments about it related to legal issues, planning issues, and funding. I gave you earlier, and the town staff, a copy of the easement deed that's recorded on this. I was involved in this acquisition of the property that has the current Happy Trail on it back in 1995, and it already is deed restricted, and with many of the same restrictions that a land trust would create. And for the town to convey an interest in land or permanent interest in land, there are statutes that require we go through a process, just like we do for selling land. And I wonder if that's really necessary, given how restricted it is.
Mm-hmm.
As it concerns the Otter Creek Child Center, there's two parcels there. Where the building is, which was the Rockefeller property, and the college property to the north that have been merged. Part of the Rockefeller property that behind the Child Center already has a conservation restriction on it similarly. So it's really the part to the north, and that in itself has a deed restriction for the Child Center use and would need the approval of the college. That deed does provide for utility easements to be granted. And one of the issues with that property to the north is there's a major drainage that the town has that comes from Wayward Street, Shannon Street, and most of the drainage from the college north of College Street. It's like a 30-inch pipe that comes out through that, and a whole lot of stormwater that's part of the Otter Creek Shell Center development. And there's a whole lot more that needs to be done in terms of that path and how it interacts with the present and sort of possible future stormwater management needs the town and college and Child Center may need to have on that. So there's a bit more planning. And, Happy Trail as exists is fairly level and could be improved. And most of the town, I believe all of the town was done with volunteer efforts and funds. And I would hope that we could build a funding model for this that could use what volunteer efforts could be mustered. And perhaps the town could consider, the Public Works Department from time to time does a lot of things for community projects, whether it's gathering Christmas trees or whatever. There aren't, regular things, and something might be able to be done in kind that could help leverage this, whether it's a part of a day all in stone that's been purchased, or the town skids here. I don't want to speak for the town of Public Works Department. I'm just saying that there's a way to do parts on the town's own property. The part that's on the Shell Center property that's their property, and I feel a bit uncomfortable talking about what ought to happen on their property without them involved directly.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What you opened up with about the restrictions that are already placed on there, it sounded like you were referring that he's trying to conserve this property. He's only trying to get in town, he's only trying to get an easement, right? He's not trying to conserve the property.
It's already conserved.
You just.
I was a witness to this deed in 1995.
I was just confused. It sounded like you were telling him that in the deed or everything that already does conserve it. And I don't know if that's an issue, is it?
Personally, I wouldn't spend a lot of money on lawyers making new restrictions that replicate what we already have.
Right.
If I was trying to improve the trail, I would work with Rotary or other volunteer groups to.
I was just trying to understand what you were saying.
Level things and not spend money on lawyering personally. I'm just old school.
So you're saying we don't need an easement?
There already is public ownership, deed restrictions expressly for the recreational trail.
We have a lot of restrictions on what can be done on the land, but I'm sure that MALT would like some kind of letter of memorandum of understanding, something that says you have the ability to develop recreation in this part of this property.
Yeah, I mean, so I think what we'd be looking for is a green light to kind of start that process to kind of see what you yeah. Well, I mean, and it could be that when we do talk to some of our experts in this, that they will come back and say, yes, actually, you should have an easement over this. But I take everything you say is all duly noted. I think to have the discussion at kind of that level of detail would be difficult. But I think having clarity from the select board in terms of being able to go ahead with a green light to start the process of looking into that with some of our staff and some of our folks that work on these things in a very technical way.
I do wonder if we could get some of it similar to what happened in Otter View Park, where I know I donated equipment, for instance, for utilization on that. So a lot of that was done, I believe, with donated materials and labor, and how much of that we could accomplish with donations.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a possible way forward. I think if the funding was unavailable, a lot of the funding would be for, I mean, really materials. And if we were able to get in-kind donation of those materials, then obviously that would help us get there. But
they're gonna make it ADA accessible. It's a lot different than Otter Creek Park. So.
Yeah, we have a couple different tiers of budgets, but really, we think after some of the comments we've received that the ADA accessible, especially here in downtown, makes a whole lot of sense and can be done. And if you're going to, the difference might be, $10,000, $15,000 in materials, but it's really creating this kind of community gem.
I think it's huge to propose to also take on maintenance. That's not something the town, you already do maintain the right park trails.
Right.
One thing I want to say about the use of the conservation fund. In 1985, that was voted for acquisition of land, purchase of conservation restrictions. And it really isn't intended for construction of improvements, park improvements, skate parks or anything. Okay, and we as a town, I think, need to keep in mind the need for that particularly for the development of well 5, what we may need to purchase and its protection for that. There's a significant amount that has been built up over years in that fund, but that's a big piece that we need to keep funding for, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Megan, you had a...
Oh, I just had a question about materials,
Sure.
because when I picture a trail, I just picture, cleared, trees cleared from the forest. So, but ADA accessible means what, like boardwalks and what
it's-
kinds of things
so
will make
to-
it a trail?
Yeah, so I mean, you'd have to allow for wheelchair access. So you're looking at a different grade. Right now, especially in the Otter Creek portion, it does have a pretty steep grade. So we'd have to smooth that out a bit. We'd have to use materials which would allow for wheelchair accessibility, which I don't think is a problem. It's only a half-mile trail, to be honest. But part of the cost too, in addition to the ADA, would be the signage. That was one major recommendation we had from the Conservation Commission, is the signage really needs to be top-notch. And especially since it would be in downtown area, and it is an easy way to get to the downtown shops area too. I think you could do a lot with that. But really, it's a smoothing in terms of that, smoothing the grade. You might even have to have a rest area. There are very strict standards on all of this, and in order for us to make sure that we're meeting those standards, we'd have to follow a bunch of different engineering criteria.
Got it, thanks.
Laura?
So I just remember how important river walks were in our economic development, so this is great. I thought that there was a dream to continue Happy Trail along the river all the way to Otter Creek Park. And
That was great until some people built houses.
so there still isn't an easement that you could, no? Okay, forget it, okay.
Starting with the next property to the north of the Travel Center and a few other
All
places.
right, too bad, okay.
Some
all right.
obstructions to that.
Okay, all right, forget that.
Doesn't mean I can't work on getting them, but I think they've already said no.
Any other questions? Thoughts? Way forward?
I think it's great. I hope that we can make it happen.
Yeah.
What's
I don't have
the,
a fashion of motion for this, but supporting the vision of it and encouraging moving forward with the more detailed work needed. I don't know what else to say really about it. We have to really wait till budget to talk about how much money can be appropriated and fit in with other things that we have.
So maybe besides the money, and I know that sounds like something that we're not willing to discuss right now.
If money were no object.
Yeah, not everybody. But I think
yeah,
it would be good to hear, from MALT, and as we kind of look where we want to be working over the next year or so, just kind of so we can do our planning. It would be good to hear how supportive the board is. I don't know if that's a motion or whatever, but also some sort of green light that allows us to kind of, especially on the trail easement and looking at that whole section there, giving us that kind of green light support from the select board, I think would give us confidence that we can start looking at these things and even incurring some of our costs, that we're not expecting anybody to reimburse us, but at least to do our analysis. We can get back and talk about this further.
so I think the
That makes
question
sense.
would be, if they had the $60,000 donated, does the board support the
Heck, yeah.
development of this trail? So do we
I think
want
we
to?
can speak to the part we own.
Yeah,
Wait a
there's
second, Emily has a
there's
comment.
Where is the $60,000 estimate from?
Us. Yes, in-house with our trail managers we have, you're familiar with the TAM and 19 miles, so it's from the work we've done previously or continuously over the last 38 years.
As contracted work? And is that engineered contracted work?
We would have to kind of dig into that a little bit further. It depends. I mean, some analysis would have to be done in terms of the criteria for full ADA compliance.
We're not talking about stone and ADA or 10, right? This is different.
Correct. some of it might be contracted, some of it might be on a volunteer staff basis. But part of that is moving forward, it's mostly materials, essentially, is what we're getting estimates from our trail people. Yeah. So could it end up being a little bit more, a little bit less? That's a possibility there, but I think, again, it's more getting the green light to kind of move forward. And again, we can fundraise if there's, if we get a green light that say we have this amount of money, we can fundraise the rest.
Yeah, and Kevin, regarding the fundraising, you mentioned partnering with the town on that. And I don't know if you have that fleshed out at all, but I don't know what that might look like.
Yeah, and again, what I really would hope to get is funding for this project.
Sure.
But I did hear by a couple different people that it's likely that was maybe not a possibility. So that wasn't a part of my original pitch, but because I heard from a couple different people prior to this meeting that I might have to have a secondary pitch.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay.
But again, I mean, we're looking at, we have a lot going on next year. I really think this is, and talking to a lot of our different partners, this could really be a community gem. Could be something that's really important for the business community and partnership and collaboration overall in the town. In order to get this in our docket, I want to have a little bit of clarity, and we would love to partner with you on this in some form or fashion.
Okay. I would move that we support the vision for this trail and authorize any improvements that you can make with funding available to be determined for the town's own portion. Like that.
Does that meet your need to feel like you're green lighted to do it, or would you like?
Yeah, I mean, I guess this also merits, that allows us to take a look at what would need to be done on the easements, maybe get a little bit more detail.
I think some specificity in that versus just a general statement, looking at what is already covered by easement and what you feel like you would need to be comfortable spending the money to develop the trail.
That sounds good.
And then bring that back to us, and if that's, a memorandum of agreement or something like that, then maybe we can support that, because that's very little outlay of capital funds.
Okay. Sounds good.
So we have.
Kevin, while you're here. Oh, there's motion. Sorry.
I'll second that motion.
Okay.
Can I just ask one question? Mark, are you good with this? I mean,
Yeah,
it's going to be your staff
We'll
time.
work with Kevin to
Okay.
come back and present some kind of memorandum of understanding
Right.
or further research to you.
Okay.
Perfect.
Any other comments or questions?
So
on the
this is
motion?
pretty much a letter of support from us.
Yes.
This is a
With
motion,
no
motion
commitment.
motion of support with no commitment of funding.
I'm good with that.
Okay. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it.
Before we let you go, there is a tree on the edge of the Chipman Hill Trail off the top of Springside. That a tree blew against it and has died, and it's gone from here to maybe here, right next to the
Is
road.
that on the Battelle Trust line?
I don't know.
Is this
It
one?
is, they have money.
Yeah, but we can send our guys up there.
Is this on the road?
No.
Yeah,
But that's not
Wait a minute.
part of the trail.
if you go to the top of Springside
Yes.
and you go through
Beyond
the
the gate?
utility gate, I asked Emily about this and she said, tell Malt.
She didn't say tell me. Who owns that? Emily?
Battelle Trust has care and custody of trees and they have money.
Who?
Patel Trust?
But
Okay.
it's not Malt.
Eventually I'll find the right person for this. Don't you worry.
No, don't.
Talk to Tony
I'll
about it.
Yeah, no. I'll,
Talk to Tony.
yeah, no.
I talked to Tony already about it.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, it wasn't even.
Never mind. It's all good.
All right.
Thanks so
Glad to be
much.
so helpful.
Thank you for your leadership on this.
Yeah. Thank you.
Chief Shaw,
Good evening.
good evening.
It's nice to come here without asking for money, so that's good.
Yeah, but when you come and ask for money, it's big
Big
time.
money, right, exactly. That's why you don't want to see me often, for
You
sure.
go to 2.5 cents, right?
No, I think we've got that solved. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Excellent.
We've been rattling the sabers over there, so. Yeah, so I'm here to report out what's happening at 5 Seymour. We're busy, that's for sure. We're at 218 calls for the year, which is a little down from where we were last year, but it all sugars out in the end. We'll end between 275 and 300 calls, which doesn't sound like a big number, except for that's 300 times you're away from home, and that doesn't include training and all the other associated stuff. We have been lucky and received some grants. We're going to install a dry hydrant in the Frog Hollow area. A grant for $15,000 was awarded, and DPW has been working closely with my assistant chief in making this happen, and it's couldn't be a better collaboration between two town departments working together. So it's really nice to have that happen. That'll be installed in the month of October and operational by November. We'll install another dry hydrant off the bridge in the Sealy district that goes over the East Middlebury River. We had a dry hydrant across from 522 3 Mile Bridge Road, which is Rock McIntyre's driveway. Across there was a dry hydrant. And the East Middlebury River shifts from all over the place when the flood happens, and we had a beautiful dry hydrant now that wasn't anywhere near water.
What's a dry hydrant?
So a dry hydrant is a pipe that is above ground, that's into the ground and runs below ground into a water source, and you have to create a vacuum to suck that up into your pump. So there's one behind Mr.
So it's
Ups.
not connected to the town?
Right, it's not connected to town water. And it doesn't freeze in the winter. So we will mount a bridge-mounted one at the Sealy district, off the Sealy Bridge. That there's one currently in Ripton. It works wonderful. It's horizontally on the bridge, and then you swing it down into the water, and you would pump off the bridge. They work well. That's a grant for about $8,500 with a town portion of $1,750. So those are very generous grants. This is through the Vermont Water Source Fund and through the Vermont Grant Dry Hydrant Program. We're currently working on a support pickup to replace the current one that we have. That will go out for bid. We're going to use the town bid process because it's a municipal pickup truck. We can get favorable pricing through DPW rather than going through a fire manufacturer. A lot favorable pricing. We'll upfit the device ourselves with radios and lighting and etc. Hopefully that happens in early 2026. It's in the capital outlay fund for that time. Membership seems to be steady, but we certainly could use 10 more people to make calls work out. And we're rattling the bushes, but we're rattling the bushes with everybody else. So there's not many people left to rattle the bushes for. I did have a commitment to the select board to talk about regionalization. I met with key partners in Addison County, and we had a long conversation about regionalization, and there's not much traction there at this time. We're currently doing it now. We just call it mutual aid. But the regionalization I'm talking about would reduce the number of fire stations in Addison County, reduce the number of equipment, and increase the efficiency of the fire service. That's a tough
Question on that, is that the same as basically the schools? Everybody wants to have one, and so nobody wants to be the one to give up their fire station?
Right, you're correct. 100%.
I thought the article in the IDND a couple weeks ago was excellent about the successes and challenges.
Yeah, and there's many challenges there, and there will be successes, but it's going to be a long, slow process. So I think the three big partners, the town of Middlebury, the town of Bristol, and the city of Virgins, will have a great deal of influence on how that moves forward. And so our conversation has started, and we'll continue that. We're currently working as a county organization to standardize our radios and our radio practices. And that was a rather heated debate just over radio communication.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
if you can imagine what about closing your fire station and moving some of your personnel
Oh, yeah.
from here to there. So as the school system goes, so goes the fire service. So it'll be tough sledding. But the fire service accept change wonderfully, as long as nothing changes. That's just the way we work, unfortunately. So
Wow.
that's kind of where we are.
Thanks for fighting the good fight.
Yeah, we'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
Give it a shot.
Have you gotten Mark to step up? He's a former fireman. There's one right there.
He seems to run the other way every time I come close to him. He's a smart guy.
David's a
He's
young
smart
guy.
guy.
They live next door. They could both run over the fire department. Right across the road from
We were
him.
we're even in his building, he still doesn't come out. Absolutely. That's about it for us. Really, I'm happy to report that it's business as usual, which is good.
It's amazing it's taken so long to standardize some of the things like comms.
It takes a long time, Brian,
Yeah.
for sure. Absolutely.
Do you have a status on the fire truck that we purchased? I don't know.
That's a
couple months
great
ago?
question. I was hoping you didn't ask that. So the status is no report. The committee is still working. We are designing compartment by compartment now. So that is a task. I want to be able to have, when the manufacturer calls up and says, okay, we're ready to start bending metal for your truck. I want to be able to turn to them and say, here's exactly what we want, right? Instead of going, oh, geez, give us 6 weeks, we'll try to throw it together quick as we can and get back to you. So now we're taking the time to design each compartment where we know where things are. Our goal is to get some of that equipment off in that truck and change some of the fire service changes, right? And so our equipment needs change as well. So, we're going to replace the support truck that we have now with a 250 or 2500. We're currently moving that 26-foot long trailer with a private vehicle, which is a really bad idea. Bad idea. Bad things happen, and somebody's liability insurance may be not as adequate as the town of Middlebury's, and so we try to discourage that as much as possible, but it happens. So the new vehicle will be able to tow that. We'll keep the old support vehicle and put some hazmat stuff on that, so we can report with that rather than a $6 million or $1 million truck. We can do it with a $8,000 pickup truck and use that $8,000 pickup truck for when wires are down and the roads are really crappy. We can leave that $1 million piece of equipment in the station and take a pickup truck out there. And if things change, we'll change apparatus accordingly. But yeah, try to lessen our exposure a little bit when it comes to that.
Thinking of Frog Hollow in your dry hydrant, it's rare, but when you needed to launch a boat there for rescue, when you do your dry hydrant, if you could leave it so that you could
That would be
have
great.
ready access, that would be a smart thing to do.
That'd be great, but they're gonna rip-wrap that because the eddy is so strong there, it would wash away that beach.
You're going to
edge.
be west of the dumpster.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, there's a little cutout right there, we're gonna be right underneath one. But they'll return the soil as if you'll never know it's there.
Oh,
But
I'm just thinking if,
Yeah.
when you do need to launch something quickly.
it would be nice, that's for sure. And we're in there quite a bit, so.
There you go.
Yeah, a couple this year, actually.
You mentioned that fire services have changed. We know that what the police have been asked to do
Yeah.
has changed a lot.
Yeah.
And that the nature of ambulance calls have changed. If you were just to try to look at,
My crystal ball.
well, looking back, right? What's the 5-year trend been in what the fire department's called upon to do?
Let's look just ahead just for a moment. So
Sure.
we're scheduled to replace engine 2, and in 2029. Currently, we would not be funded properly to do that. The department, the leadership sat down and looked at the town and the growth sections of town and where the growth will happen and anticipated what that would look like in 2029 and moving forward. And need for us seems to be that we would buy a mini pumper. So it's a pumper that's on a 550 chassis, would have the same size pump as our large truck, smaller water, only carries 4 people instead of 2, and we would replace the engine out of station 2 with a mini pumper. That allows us to service those driveways that are really tough for us in the Forest Ridge area, along with the Holiday Road. North 40 Lane is a challenge for us. We can't get a big truck up in there. It'll also save the town $500,000.
Right, I like that.
Just like that.
Yeah.
Which changes the 2 cent per 100 fund, right? It makes it a little more soluble, or a little more pliable until we reach 2047, and I will not be here, and so that'll be somebody else's problem. But it really helps out, because under the old formula, we're going to run short in 2029, we're going to run short in 2036. I mean, that's assuming the grain list doesn't grow, and we all know the grain list is going to grow, but based on simple numbers. So we will, when we come back for engine 2, before we start working on that, we'll look for the board and the others' approval to look that way. I think it just gives us a little more dynamics, and I believe the fire service is headed that way, right? It may be a day where you can't put 6 people in a truck. I think we'll be fine that way, but others will not.
Okay.
You know, on that Forest Ridge, originally that project was going to have town water crossing under the airport.
Absolutely.
The town was,
Is that line still across the airport, just dead?
Sleeve is in, but
Right.
extending the water across there was a 100,000 plus proposition at the time.
Yeah.
We aren't contemplating that. And having a hydrant on the east side of the airport for all that 50 whatever house lots are talking about in the future. That project should go through a current review as to how we are and what we've got funding for or not, and whether there's an undue burden on the town. I think fire protection is one of the issues, schoolhouse hill is the other, but if you're counting on having a pumper for fighting fire on the east side of the airport, you need a hydrant.
Well, you don't need a hydrant. I mean, a hydrant would be nice, but there's a lot of rural water supply that can happen quite quickly.
On the east side of the airport?
Yeah, on the east side of the airport, for sure.
Rural water?
Yeah, so we have 2,000 gallons of water sitting on wheels here. We bring 1,000 with us. Most house fires today are put out with 3,000 gallons or less.
3,000?
3,000 gallons or less. That's not if you're squirting water all over the place, right? I'm talking about efficient firefighting. We also have a tanker right in Salisbury, so we're using that as a resource. But yes, in an ideal world, a pressurized water system on that end of the development would be wonderful. Would be wonderful. I'm not sure that it should be a game changer for the development, if you're asking my opinion. I mean, I met with those neighbors. 4 of those neighbors came to the fire station. First, they were questioning our ability to provide fire service there, so I invited them to the fire station so they could see what they've already invested in the fire service, and they left with a much different attitude.
I'm glad you're on.
Sounds right.
That will come in and.
Yeah, I think for sure. I think
appreciate everything you're saying about thinking of different ways to manage the costs of this. And, so thank you.
Well, you're welcome.
The firefighting, is a lot of that the changes in nozzles and stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. Lower pressure nozzles, less volume, more intelligence, right? We're training a lot different than we used to, right? And we're fighting fire a lot differently. We don't see a lot of fire, right? So when we see it, we want to be effective and put it out. It's not like we had the call volume on the fire side that we have. We have the call volume in the other section. So, and we're going to be bringing a lot more homes on, hopefully, in the next decades to come, right? I mean, 42, I think, is for that East Middlebury area we're talking about. And
build out right away.
Stone Corp, and we're counting on people living there so we can get them in the fire service.
Good.
It requires the developer to provide volunteers.
It's part of the settlement.
Zoning condition.
DRB condition, yeah.
Exactly.
Give everybody a bucket?
At 10% got to be, right?
Wait,
You just have to have a bucket and a ladder.
That's
What's
right,
the other
everybody-
section that is most of your call volume? That's not fire. What is it?
So it's alarms, of course. You know, today's modern homes, minimum 7 alarms in there, so and you can't ignore those. We have seen quite an uptick in auto accidents. We're providing technical rescues, or not technical, heavy rescue services that we weren't before. And it's generally just all over the place. We just had a big hazmat situation out at the Cidery, right? That's a 9.5-hour event that took to happen. I mean, so the spectrum that we cover is very diverse. So if you get bored in the fire service, you probably shouldn't come hang out with us, because we're trained on something different all the time. tomorrow night we'll be at the college up to Stewart Hall. They're renovating that, but they turned the building over to us for a couple of nights. And we're going to have a great time. They're a great partner. Which is wonderful because, you know, they first respond to all their alarm calls up there, which is wonderful because if not, it would be 100 more calls.
Oh, that'd be terrific.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Super. Thank you.
Thanks,
Chief.
Chief.
Thank you.
Okay.
Who's next? Yes.
I want to join the fire department just to hang out with him.
All right, we have Dana next. So we'll let her unmute.
Hey everyone,
Hi, Dana.
Hey, Dana.
Hey, Dana?
do I look humongous on Drew's new screen?
No, you look
No.
very perfectly life-size.
We can
I
actually
feel
tell
like my
us.
head must just be like this looming presence in the room now.
Zoom in, David.
It's perfect.
No.
Oh.
Okay, I apologize everyone, Juno's supposed to be asleep, but she knows that children are to be seen, not heard in select board meetings, okay? So I've been in front of you guys to ask about this historic preservation grant twice in the past. We've applied the past 2 years for the library project and have not gotten it, but though we've been unsuccessful, we are undeterred and we plan to apply again this year. Maybe third time is the charm. We are requesting the maximum amount of $20,000. The application itself was in your packet. I didn't include all the supplementary materials, but I'm happy to share them if you would like. And I'm happy to answer any questions about the grant.
I think it's great. It's about time that they give us one, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah,
Every little bit helps, so.
for sure.
Did I read that you were able to get anonymous donation to fund the roof?
A community member stepped forward and made an anonymous donation, and so that will go towards the roof, which is incredible.
That's incredible. Yeah.
Yeah.
When we first started thinking about the fundraising for the Ilsley Library, it was never, ever believed that we would have this much
Support.
philanthropy
Sure.
in our, we believed that people wanted to, we just didn't think we'd get that kind of money. It's unbelievable.
I think.
Yeah, I feel so fortunate to be a librarian in a community that loves and supports their library. It's fantastic.
We've got a good librarian that's able to do this.
Right.
Wow. The community.
Yeah. Pleasure of the board?
Yeah.
I move to authorize the Ilsley Public Library to submit a grant application to the State of Vermont Department of Historic Preservation to support the library renovation expansion project.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Anybody, questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
A big
Great.
Or-
Thanks, everyone. I'll keep you posted. We should find out in December, so.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dana.
Bye.
Bye.
I'm going to send my grandchildren to be with her. They're not that well behaved.
That was pretty amazing. wasn't
Yeah,
it?
right?
Yeah.
You can see
David.
it on right now.
Yeah. That's it. She's locked in.
Okey-doke. So this is just a next procedural step. We spoke at the last meeting about the concept of adjusting the town's current winter parking restrictions. You seemed okay with the concept, so now we have, as you know, a two-step process through our town charter to amend an ordinance. You would vote tonight, we would publish it in the paper in its full form, and after a set number of days, we'd bring it back. You'd have a procedural public hearing, and if there was no great outcry, you'd have another vote, and then it goes live 40 days after that. The premise, and the reason we're doing it now, is the hope is we will be able to do outreach to the primary impacted audience, which is going to be downtown. Elsewhere in the town, for the most part, there are driveways and off-street parking. so it's a little more academic. We're going to try to reach out to, it's really the property owners and their tenants more than it is businesses, because we're talking about an overnight matter. As you saw in the previous meeting, Dave from Public Works and Jason are both in support of the idea. It still allows Public Works to plow when they need to plow, but relieves the police department of some enforcement that's unnecessary, and also, giving a ticket to somebody who's traveling to your town when it's 50 degrees outside in winter can kind of leave a bad taste in someone's mouth. So the premise is that it'll be a simplified rule. If it's going to be snowing that night, you're going to have to get off the road. We will make an announcement, as Virgins does when they changed their rule last year. I think the idea was we would try to make an announcement by noon the day before. It will go out on all the mediums that we have. So it would go out by email, it would go out on the website, it would go out through our text messaging service. We would put it out on Front Porch Forum. And the more people we can encourage to sign up for that service, the more people who are being told right in their phone that you got to move your car. And also, frankly, it's more logical. People will see the snow falling and know they need to get off the street that night. So we hope to build in that common sense. Virgins did the exact same thing. They did it without blinking lights, and they gave out fewer tickets. They found that it worked just fine. So that's the idea here, is to simplify the rule and have it match what we've to some degree already been doing over the years. So that's the gist of it.
Thanks, David. This
Yep.
is exactly what we saw the last meeting, and we said, let's get it going so that we can get through the process and actually have it in effect in time for when snow's coming. Are there any questions on it?
So the yellow in your draft is the proposed language.
Yes.
You don't show what's deleted, but you're basically replacing Article 1, Section 1.
Yes, sorry, yeah. Yeah, it's an elimination of the previous section that spoke to timeframes from this date to that date.
November 1st to June 1st.
I would move to approve the amendments to the ordinance for the regulation of parking, subject to a public hearing and final vote by the Select Board, which will take place at the October 14th, 25 Select Board meeting.
Second. Moved and seconded. Any comments or questions?
I have a question.
Yeah.
I'm curious, how many people are already signed up for our text alerts, or what percentage of the town?
That's a great, I don't know the number off the head, but we can figure that out tomorrow morning.
Yeah, I'm curious.
I do think one of the good things is the more we are utilizing it for more communication, the more people are encouraged to sign up for it, ironically.
Totally.
If it's just going to be about some event happening, it's not as, but if it's this road's getting shut down, or we're having to shut off your water, or we're having to plow the streets, suddenly it becomes information you really need to know. And ironically, I think that'll push more people to use it. But Crystal can run a report and we can tell you.
Yeah, I'd love to know.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's up to
You didn't know it.
Mark.
Okay,
Lovely budget.
Fiscal 27. In your packets, or in your packet for this evening, we included a few things: a copy of the capital budget timeline, a copy of the general fund budget timeline, and then some other dates of importance as these relate to your regular select board meetings. So department heads received both of these schedules earlier in the month with a deadline for capital requests of Friday, September 26th, and an ops budget request deadline for Friday, October 24th. So we're still very early in the process at this point, and the schedules that are in your packet are almost identical to last year, so nothing major has changed, but it would be really helpful for us to know, are there any dates in here that you have, or a number of you have conflicts with, so that we can correct the schedule now. I don't know if any of you have travel plans during the holidays that are impacted, or that will impact these schedules, but we'd like to make these adjustments as soon as possible, if so.
Sometimes in past, Select Board didn't want to meet on its regular Tuesday on Thanksgiving week. So that would mean that November 25th, we might have gone to the 18th or something, but I don't know. I'm fine with any of those dates.
There's also the December 16th meeting which would be a back-to-back.
Avoids Christmas week,
But
that makes sense.
It avoids the week of
Yeah.
Christmas
Yeah.
if you're traveling, so.
For sure.
But we would look for your approval to move that
Looks great.
night as well, tonight, if possible.
I'm not even brining the turkey on the 25th.
What's that?
I'm not even brining on the 25th. That's Wednesday. Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah. I can make the 25th. I couldn't make the week before, but I don't have to be here for that. Somebody else can do it, but I'll.
I don't remember, have we moved it before?
We definitely moved
Yeah.
Christmas.
I think the Christmas week we moved.
Christmas was the easy one, but
Sure.
Thanksgiving is,
We've done that on
We
time.
talked about moving it last year, but I made you come here because I needed some grass.
Perfect.
For the ARPA funding.
Yeah.
okay, oh, that's right.
Good deal. Yeah, this is a good schedule.
Okay, and if something does come up, please just let us know as soon as possible so that staff can also make adjustments to their calendars.
Wait, just to be clear, because this is my first time, this schedule I'm looking at, the select board only have to be there for the select board meetings. What are these other dates or dates that things are happening, but we're not having extra meetings on those?
Right.
Yeah, if you
Right.
want to zero in on the dates that impact you, there's a separate sheet in the
Great.
packet that just says the select board dates, so you can just look at those.
Thank you.
Cool.
Great.
Is that all you needed, you hope to get accomplished with that?
I also want to talk for a very brief minute here about budget drivers,
Yeah.
if that's okay. So this is my first budget year, but from what I understand, potential budget drivers have been presented at this meeting when the calendar has been presented. So in keeping with that tradition, I just wanted to bring a few topics to your attention tonight, keeping in mind that we're very early on in the process. We haven't received any budgets yet or operating budgets yet. So there may be more to come, but a few topics that you'll hear from staff during the upcoming budget season will be healthcare costs, increased healthcare costs. That will surprise no one at the table. I hope I hope that the pace is a little slower than we've seen in the past couple of years, and that's what I'm expecting. But healthcare costs continue to rise, and that will be impacting our budgets.
Mark, when do we get the renewals on those?
I don't know, but I can
Okay.
ask Crystal. They would go to her. So salary lines for some positions. We're not looking to overhaul salaries town-wide, but you will see some increases in some salary lines this year. There are positions that we believe need to be right-sized, so we'll have a conversation about that during budget season, and also police overtime. I know that was from what I understand, that was a topic of conversation last year, so we'd like to have a conversation with you this year about right-sizing that budget line as well. And then, from what I understand, historically, there are a number of other budget lines that have been underfunded. So we'll continue what you started last year, which is, again, looking at every budget line and trying to right-size those so that they have appropriate funding in them, and we don't have to shift money from line to line to fill budget gaps at the end of the year. And then as far as capital goes, you can expect to see some increased funding and investment in the HVAC system for the police department. I believe that's already beyond its useful life. And building upgrades townwide. We have a buildings and grounds staff in place now, and so we have some boots on the ground here working with the Public Works Department, and we'd like to make some progress catching up on maintenance in our buildings. So that's a very early look at some of the increases you'll see in the budget, and we'll be coming back to you with a draft budget soon. It's hard to believe we're already here.
Yeah.
Years click fast, don't they?
Yeah.
Any questions? Oh, Mark? Okay.
I don't, so you, as far as dates go,
So we're going to move the December 23rd up to the 16th.
Right.
no other
Yeah,
changes.
good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Boy, board member concerns. Fred?
No, the road paving that's been done looks nice. Holiday. Moved down to the schoolhouse, so road. Low travel as it is, beautiful.
All right, Isabel?
Nope, I'm good.
Megan?
Nope.
Wow.
Dan?
I just have a question. How are we doing with water?
So as far, I meet tomorrow morning with Dave actually for his one-on-one, and that is on my list of questions to ask. But to the best of my knowledge, we don't have any serious concerns at this point. The static levels are fine, and if there is a concern, we'll of course circle back and share that with you.
So a few weeks back, you put out a request to reduce water consumption. Have we reduced our water consumption? I mean, have they noticed any people using shorter showers?
We increased our water consumption because the college has returned.
Yeah, there's 2,000 more users up the hill.
Yeah. But
Why don't we just shut their showers off?
Had conversations with users, like irrigation and things like that, that we're trying to minimize that. The level has dropped slightly this week, but we're still okay. Drew's pointing at me.
Oof.
So when we sent that notice out, we got a flood of calls, and we
Okay.
got people not washing dishes, buying paper plates, and it's
Oh,
like, that was
gosh.
not the intent of that
Wow.
message at all. It was just to be mindful of our usage and recognize it's a resource. And so I think we are still in decent shape if this goes on for much longer. It's concerning for sure. It's dropped. I think they're checking the static level now daily, and then they're checking it 3 times a week, right when the well is running, to see what the drawdown is doing during that demand cycle.
And what is the static level? That's
Sort
when
of,
nothing's
they
being
measure,
drawn?
so if you look at ground level,
Yep.
how far down from that
Okay.
the depth of the water
Okay.
is after the
Got it.
pump has stopped operating
Right.
for a period of time.
All right.
And so I built a little app for them, so they just go in, they measure down, they write in how long the well has been, not functioning, so it's been recharging that entire time. And so they've been doing that daily, and then 3 times a week, they're gonna do it while the pump is actually operating to see what that drawdown is actually doing,
Okay.
how well it's
Awesome.
going.
And they've started the construction on the new tank, haven't they? I mean,
They are
they're
under.
prepping the site.
Yeah, they're
Steady
doing all
stream
the
of
site
truck.
work.
Okay.
Yep,
That's
site
it.
work is happening.
Well, it may not have been your intent to have them buy paper plates and stuff.
It
It is
was-
nice to know that people are listening.
They
and-
listen, I know, I felt badly because it was a children's center, and the number of
Wow.
plates that they must have
Oh,
been
gosh.
using was a little bit alarming to me, but we got them redirected, so they're now washing
Yeah.
dishes again.
Well, somebody's reading your notes, so.
And those were from the messages that Crystal puts out.
Yeah.
So it does, and every time we do it, we tend to get more people. If we have a water shut off or something in a neighborhood and the one neighbor doesn't find out, but the neighbors next door, then they say, you should join
Then
the
they really
platform,
quick
and
sign
then
up.
they do.
Yeah.
So every time there's an event, it seems like she gets more numbers in.
Yeah.
Great.
The power of knowledge.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Good. Anything else, Dan?
No, thank you.
Good, Brian?
So I have no concern, but I have a comment about this setup. Beautiful. Thank you, Drew, Mark, and David for doing this.
Yeah.
It is so comfortable. I always felt like I was stuck behind that TV screen. If
Oh.
somebody's speaking behind that,
Right.
I can't tell who
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
So this is so, it looks very open now, so.
We had our
Is the
Thanks for
sound
doing
better
this.
for people out there?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so you may not have noticed with the speaker that Drew helped us set up the wiring for, you're not noticing it back here, but they're gonna hear it quite a
Yeah, I
bit
want to
back there.
notice that too. So,
And the Public Works guys came the Friday before last and did all this great work.
amazing.
running the wires through the ceiling. And
It looks, it looks.
Nice and clean.
Oh, our map is over there now?
And
Yes.
all those wires sitting there is clean now, so, thank you.
There's no wall.
People can see Mark now because he's.
Yeah, good comment.
Understood.
Oh
Andy.
dear. My mother-in-law, who lives on Basin View, off of Lodge Road, says, yes, there's very bad visibility there, something should be done. Got a comment during the meeting from a YouTube watcher that this is something we need to be taking seriously. Glad to hear that the folks on North Street are going to get a more prominent sign. Thanks for taking care of that.
Same signs. There's
Yes, the same sign,
Yes.
brought forward, so it's visible before you turn onto the street, but you shouldn't be turning onto the street. I am still hoping that before budget ramps up, we can get Kevin Chu and/or the professor who does work on building in here for a chat. Gary Winslet, thank you.
Talking about housing?
Yeah,
Yeah. You might be able to fit that in the next meeting?
that'd be amazing.
Yeah, we could certainly reach out to the second gentleman, Kevin. I know he travels a lot, but we can ask him to.
Yeah, I mean, he's coaching
Yeah.
track and field still, he's around a lot.
I think our hope was perhaps to bring Kevin when Alicia had arrived. So
Oh,
she
yes,
could hear
that's true.
that discussion. So maybe
Thanks.
aim for a
That would
Kevin
make more
presentation
Yeah.
in late October so she can get settled and then be part of it.
Yeah,
So
cool. Thanks, guys.
Okay. That's it?
That's it.
I don't have anything, so I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I moved.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.